Say it one more time.
Station, this is Secretary Jewell. How do you hear me?
Secretary Jewell, we have you loud and clear. It's great to have you on board the International Space Station. Welcome.
It's great to be on board. I'm here at the Science Museum of Minnesota with a wonderful group of people, and we've just been paddling on the Mississippi River. So we got a lineup of questions for you. Are you ready for a few of them?
We are ready.
And may we call you Jeff and Katie?
Absolutely. Please do.
All right. Well, one of the things that I think we'd all like to know is on this celebration of the National Park Service, anything you'd like to tell us about the national parks yourself in this century since they were created?
Well, I would imagine that you might have seen the video that the folks in Houston helped me put together and to release yesterday. That says mostly of what I would want to say in regards to that. National parks have been a big part of my life throughout my lifetime. My father was primarily a school teacher, but he participated in a program that the Park Service had when I was ages 4, 5, and 6 to spend summers out in Devil's Tower National Monument. So I grew early on in appreciation of the parks, and every summer, during those summers, we'd go to Yellowstone, the Tetons. One summer we went to the Glaciers, or Glacier National Park, the Badlands, of course, and Black Hills, and other parks in the area. So that I had an early appreciation for the parks and for outdoor activities in general. Of course, as I grew older, had my own family, I took my family on that same voyage, same journey through those parks, not only those parks, but also parks like the Grand Canyon and the major parks in California. So, I mean, it's a beautiful part, an important part of the heritage of America and Americana, important part of our history. And I'm sure that most of us would agree that it's important to continue the commitment to preserve those parks in the future.
Well, thank you for that wonderful video. I had a chance to see it. We'll make sure our audience members get a link to it so that they can look to it as well. But the pictures that you were taking from space and how that giant camera looked so lightweight in weightless space was pretty cool for all of us to see. There it is. That's great. Katie, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, we actually, I don't know if you guys know how much we've been talking about national parks up here. The video that Jeff made and having this event with all of you folks, we actually have been sharing memories about all the camping that we did growing up. And so my family vacations always growing up in California were put all the kids in the back of the car and let's drive to a national park. And so I've got some really wonderful memories of trips to Yosemite, Yellowstone, basically all over the West and the Southwest. And we visited many of those parks there. I've got some wonderful memories of that. And I think it's just an incredible thing that we have these special places, that we've preserved them, and that we have these beautiful areas for families to enjoy together. So we've had a lot of fun on the space station talking about all of our experiences in the wilderness and all of really the kind of the amazing training that funny enough provides for spaceflight. It's really quite like a backpacking trip up here sometimes.
I bet it is. Although sometimes even the backpacking food might taste a little better than your space food. I don't know. But I'll tell you, we all together were in these giant Voyager canoes. And as we paddled down the river on a beautiful sunny day here with a little bit of wind and the insects chirping in the background, we had a bald eagle that was our company. We saw his or her nest way up in the sky. The eagle was soaring over us looking for food, and we went right through the confluence of the Minnesota and the Mississippi rivers, where the two rivers come together. So it was pretty extraordinary. We've got some questions here. Johanna, do you want to come on up here and ask the first question? They want to go first? Okay. Jovan, you want to come up and ask your question first? All right. Come on up. And just kind of stand right next to me, and you can see the astronauts right there. Oh, I'm going to just lower this a little, so hopefully you can see Jovan. There we go. All right, you want to wave at him? Katie's waving at you. There we go. All right, go ahead, ask your question.
Are you guys going to the moon?
We are not going to the moon. I wish we were going to the moon. Maybe one day we'll go back to the moon. We are orbiting the Earth. We're on average about 250 miles above the Earth's surface, but we're going 17,500 miles an hour in orbit around the Earth, and that takes us around the Earth every 90 minutes or 16 times a day. So it's an incredible place to be, especially to look back and to view the Earth. We are at an inclination of a little over 51 degrees. That means we're on inclined to the equator that far, so we can see the entire globe over a period of time, with the exception of the poles. So it's a beautiful place to be for Earth observation.
But I bet they'd both like to go to the moon. Would you like to go to the moon too?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I don't think it's going to happen for me, but maybe it'll happen for you. All right. Thanks, Jovan. Okay, John, oops, I guess I'm a little taller. John is superintendent of the Mississippi National River and Recreation Area. He's got a question for you. John?
So I'm going to be very parochial in my question because I work on the Mississippi River. So can you see the Mississippi River from space?
You absolutely can. Jeff even pointed it out to me a few weeks ago as we're going around the globe. He's been showing me the sites, and it goes from the pyramids in Egypt to our launch sites in Baikonur, and he made sure to point out the Mississippi River. And so it actually is a very short pass over it because we're going so quick. So you got to get your camera ready. And I got some beautiful shots with the sun glint coming in with our good advice from our expert photographer here. It's a fantastic place to photograph over the U.S., and it's really beautiful to see.
So when we were paddling down the river today, we could see the different colors together. Can you actually see colors like that from outer space, where, you know, the muddy river full of the nutrients hits the cleaner water?
Absolutely. It's very obvious from space. You see where rivers dump into the ocean. You see where it dumps into the lake. One very beautiful confluence of rivers that I pointed out to Kate in the last couple of days is the White River, where it flows into the Missouri River. The White River, of course, carries a lot of the soil sediment coming from the Badlands, and the Missouri River comes down. It's a little clearer, and that's a beautiful confluence of a very stark contrast in colors. Definitely you can see it. And as Kate mentioned, when we get sun glint, when the sun is reflecting off the waters, that is especially impressive, and you can see different colors. You see currents, you can see ship wakes or boat wakes. We can see ship traffic, barge traffic on the Mississippi River very clearly, especially through a big lens like this.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, I'm going to ask a question while I ask Mayor Coleman of St. Paul to come on up here. I was just in Glacier National Park yesterday, actually, and Yellowstone, because it's a big week for the National Park Service. And I'm curious whether you see impacts to glaciers and impacts of climate change from outer space, whether there's pictures from the past or now that can compare, where you can help us understand what's happening to our planet.
Yeah, we actually have whole teams of folks on the ground that are analyzing some of the crew Earth observation photographs we take from space, and so we can take photographs of a number of different phenomenon. We send those down, and the data analysis folks can take a look at a lot of different things that are happening over time. And so this isn't just limited to glaciers. They've got a huge list of scientific observations that we can make from space, as well as things, for example, with the International Disaster Charter, when there's floods, when there's hurricanes, that kind of thing, we actually have a way to expedite that up on board. Obviously, there's satellites that are unmanned satellites that are taking pictures of that, but astronauts can take photography. We have some unique oblique angles where we can look at things from the side and see all kinds of phenomena on the planet.
So we just had devastating floods in Louisiana. Is that something that you guys have been engaged in from up there, helping the crews?
Well, we have. We try to take pictures when an event like that happens on the Earth of the event area, and we've been trying every day since the flood occurred to Louisiana. When we have a pass over Louisiana, to take pictures. The first few days that we attempted to do that, the weather didn't cooperate, so we didn't have a clear view. But in the recent days, we were able to take some extensive photography of that area, and hopefully it'll be of some use, some aid to the recovery teams and the ground teams that are going in to assist in that.
That's great. We're glad you're up there looking at us and looking after us. Mayor Coleman, Chris Coleman, is the mayor of St. Paul. Mr. Mayor, got to lift it up for you.
A little bit. Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be talking with you. I liked you comparing a backpacking trip to being on the space shuttle or the space station. I think if the secretary goes back into her former line of work at REI, some weightless camping equipment would really be ideal. So that'd be great. So I have to test your astronaut knowledge and your history. We have 2 space shuttle astronauts that came from the city of St. Paul. So your trivia question is, can you name them?
Well, I know one is Bob Cabana.
That's not the judges were not looking for Bob Cabana.
He's from Minneapolis.
He's a Minneapolis guy.
Oh, sorry. See, I'm from Wisconsin, so to me it's all just one big city. Sorry.
Well, we have a bunch of folks from Minnesota. We have Pinky Nelson, but he was from Wilmer. But the space shuttle astronauts were Digger Carey and Heidi Stephanischen Piper. We're both from St. Paul.
Yeah. Yes. And I should know that they're both my classmates.
Well, I'll tell you, Mayor, we claim Pinky Nelson in my home community of Seattle now.
Oh,
so, yeah, can we have him?
Well,
yeah.
We want him back.
You want him back? Okay, we'll let him know. Johanna, do you have a question now? Come on up. Let's start with one. We'll see where we go from there. We got about 8 more minutes. Yeah, come on up. Johanna was on our paddling trip today. Come on up here. There you go. Hi.
Oh. Hello. My name's Johanna. Are wormholes real?
Are wormholes real? Yeah.
Hey, Johanna, it is great to be talking to you from the space station. Thank you so much for coming up and giving us your question. And are wormholes real is pretty fascinating. I think that gets into a realm of some extremely complex physics. I actually like to watch a lot of science fiction, and you always see fantastic wormholes in science fiction, and folks can get from one place to the other in the galaxy. We don't quite have harnessed that technology yet at NASA, but we are working on a lot of technologies to transport us beyond low Earth orbit. And I bet you there are some physicists out there that are digging very deep into that question, that are extremely interested in how all of this gets put together in space and time. And so we just really like to thank you for beaming your question up to the space station.
Another one?
Yes. How does time work in space?
That's a good question. Of course, the theory would say that time changes with speed. We don't notice any change here. It works, I mean, time goes by. Actually, it seems like it goes by pretty fast up here because we're having a pretty good time with all the work going on and whatnot, and it's challenging work. But subjectively, the time feels the same up here.
Thank you for your time. It was nice meeting you.
Thanks, Johanna. You want to be an astronaut?
Very nice to talk to you as well.
Well, I don't really want to be an astronaut, but I've always wanted to go to space. But I'm an artist right now. I'm just, yeah.
That's good. Thank you. All right. Hey, Rue Matt, would you come on up here and ask your question? Rue is the head of an organization called Outdoor Afro, and that's making sure that the outdoors feel welcoming to all people, in particular African Americans who are very much underrepresented in the outdoors. And she's brought this group of people out to paddle with us this morning. So, Rue.
Thank you very much. My question is, what are you missing about nature while you're up there? I don't see any plants or any trees. So what, or what place in nature are you missing especially right now?
That is a great question, and you really have hit the nail on the head. We do miss nature up here. I would say we miss everything about being outdoors. We miss just small things that you don't notice until they're gone, like feeling breeze against your face, hearing nature sounds, seeing green. Somebody told me actually to pack a lot of green shirts because you're going to want to see green up here. And you can see the lab behind us has got some nice colors on it, but there's nothing like seeing a forest or a beautiful meadow. I think that's really hardwired into the human experience. So we miss all of those things. We do actually have a few plants up here. They're not on video. It's part of an experiment. We just put it in the Columbus module in one of the payload racks there, and we're actually going to take a look at plant growth on board. We do have a lot of things up here that we can take a look at through the lenses and see beautiful landscapes in nature, and that brings it a little bit closer. But I would say there's nothing like a beautiful walk on a summer afternoon and being outside.
Thank you.
So we also have with us Congresswoman Betty McCollum, who has been a champion for our national parks and a champion for tribal communities, and she's great to work with. So Congresswoman McCollum, you want to say something to our astronauts here?
Thank you, Secretary Jewell, and it's great. It's just wonderful being able to talk to you and ask you a question about climate change. I'm going to have my first opportunity shortly, I hope in the next couple of months, to go to Glacier National Park because I want to see the glacier before it disappears. You said that you have a log of photos now that NASA's taken. What is the biggest takeaway that we can share with people after this conversation about the impacts of climate change?
I don't know. I would have to review the data. As Kate said before, we've taken pictures of the Earth for many, many years now, so you'd have to go back and actually compare the changes. I've been up here now a year and a half total, and I see the seasons go by, but it's not enough time, not enough exposure for us to see much beyond that. Now, some seasons are more stark than others, or more extreme than others, colder than some winters are colder than others, more snow in different areas. So you see variations across the planet, but beyond that, it would be very difficult to answer that question from our observation up here.
Sounds like something Congress should fund.
There you go. Can't disagree with you there. I think we're almost out of time. I just want to tell both of you how enormously proud we are of what you're doing. I get emotional too, Johanna. We send you nature and sunshine and birds chirping and wind. Thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you, and it means a whole lot to make this connection with you guys and to talk with folks that have just done amazing things like paddling on a river. It brings it a little bit closer. I know that we're looking forward to getting back to our beautiful planet. At the same time, we really love our vantage point up here, and it's amazing to see the entire Earth from a continent view. Hopefully we
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank Thank you, Madam Secretary. Station, we're now resuming operational audio communications.